Hi, welcome back to the YouTube. I'm on a little bit of a high just because I curled my hair. I just feel on top of the world. Like, my hair is naturally dead straight, but see when you actually curl your hair and you put on a bit of makeup and you feel so much better? Don't you just feel so much better about yourself? And put on a good outfit. And anyways, I cannot stop sneezing. There's loads of feels being cut here in Bali, and my hay fever is always so bad, but I've never had it here, and I'm just like, oh please, I don't want it here. Anyways, I'm going to put this on here and hopefully you can hear me. But in today's episode or YouTube video or whatever, I am going to go through the importance of a building phase and not always constantly dieting. Sorry, I sound a little bit snuffly obviously because of the hay fever, but I am going to go through the importance of a building phase and actually trying to build shape, right? I know me 5 years ago, and I'm gonna insert like a whole process of me from 5 years ago until now, and you'll see the body transformation. Now, last year when I fell out of love with just changing my body, I was like, is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life? Change my body and everything like that. But when I actually brought back to myself, why did I get into online coaching? It was to change my body. When I learned how to change my body, that's what brought me into online coaching, because I was like, I want to help girls that were struggling like me before, that couldn't lose weight, to actually lose the weight, but then also learn that there's another whole world outside of dieting, that you actually probably need to build muscle. You need to step away from the diet mindset. You need to step away from the number in the scales and stop being so attached to being the smallest version of yourself, because the smallest, leanest version of yourself probably isn't the healthiest. You might need to work on your relationship with food. Might need to build muscle. Building muscle is one of the best long-term health things that you can do for yourself, because as women, when we age, we have higher chances of getting osteoporosis if your bone density is very weak, basically. So what we want to do is build muscle mass on our body to create a denser bone, basically. And that only comes down to strength training, actually trying to build muscle. There is a difference in going into the gym to exercise, and there's a difference going into the gym to actually go in with an intention to build muscle. And that's what I'm going to try and go through in today's video, so that you know the difference. You have some action steps to go away and actually implement the next time you go into the gym, and make your gym sessions actually worthwhile, okay? So I know myself, 5 years ago, I was always just diet, and that's all I knew. That's what I was brought up around, right? There was no such thing as a building phase. What? Building muscle? What are you on about? It's just diet. But for me, actually stepping away and building muscle mass on my body changed the shape of my body, right? Gave me more of that defined tone look that most of us want. And you can diet all you want, but you'll probably just get a smaller version of yourself. Whereas if you want to look toned, lean, defined, that's where the muscle mass comes into. And it's very hard. It can happen in a dieting phase if you're really intentional with your training, you're really bang on with your nutrition, you're not under feeling too much, and you're really intentional with that. It can happen, but the problem is a lot of girls, when they do their first initial diet, try and do it on their own, or else they sign up with a group coaching coach, and that's what I done in the past. And they don't look at the training side of things. They don't look how they can improve their training. And yes, you can diet and build muscle kind of at the same time if you're a beginner, but it really comes down to, are you training to failure? Are you progressive overloading? Are you making sure to hit your protein every day? And hopefully this video will help you with that if you are a beginner, because you can do both at the same time if it's very intentional, okay? So a building phase, basically, it's not that you just need to go into this big dirty bulk. I probably made the mistake myself when I done my building phases. I had probably done it too quickly. So the first one was maybe 5 months. I didn't gain a lot of excess body fat back then, because it was with a group coaching coach. So that was grand, because I wasn't actually training properly, or I wasn't actually increasing the calories a mad amount either, because it was all through, it wasn't really personalized, if that makes sense. But when I went with one-to-one coaching then, and I really wanted to work on my physique properly, I personally do think my calories were blown up a wee bit too fast, and I gained a lot of excess body fat Now, it's grand, it's all a learning curve. I probably wouldn't do that now the next time. I would go very, very, very gradually up, and I would maybe I would just be very careful of it so that I didn't gain too much body fat too quickly. I would rather do the building phase for a little bit longer rather than like 5 to 6 months. I would try and do it for like 7, 8, 9 months maybe, and just do it very slowly in a maintenance / just a little bit of a surplus phase. Kind of what I've been doing this year, like without even intentionally doing it. Haven't been really focusing on trying to build muscle. It was more focusing on my performance and my running and stuff, but I have been in a maintenance / surplus kind of calorie phase. So I probably have been building muscle without even intentionally building, because there's so much like training with high rocks, I suppose, and I still do my strength training. So I do plan on doing a pretty, not intense diet, but probably a proper structured diet now after my next high rocks race, because I want to see what I've got underneath. I have a little bit of body fat cover and stuff, so I want to just take that off now after my next high rocks race. But basically, you don't need to go into this crazy high surplus. You also don't want to just dirty bulk and just have like fill up all your calories with like fucking takeaways, like shit food. You're only going to feel really bad, okay? You don't want to just like think of this as a, like all free for all and just go mad and not have any structure. You do want to have your building phase structured so that you minimize the rate of body fat gain. Now, I have to make it very clear, you probably are going to gain a little bit of body fat. There's no point in saying you're not. It really depends on your starting point, how much muscle mass you have in your body. Like I did have a client before that barely gained any body fat because she was really lean when we started the building phase, and her glutes blew up, and she still oh girls, I'm having a nightmare with this SD card. Oh my god, I'm only after running out of storage. I put everything onto my hard drive, and then I obviously removed it all off camera. And then I'm after recording a little bit again, and then it ran out again for 2 seconds after. So then I formatted the camera. I'm not good with technology, but formatted the camera, and then it deleted the part that I just recorded again. Anyways, we're back, right? What I wanted to go through is progressive overload, because I've gone through like you want to be doing a building phase for slow, steady progress and not rushing the process. You don't want to also be like dieting or like getting scared of the building phase and dieting after a couple of weeks, going into it, going out of it, because it's the same with like if you're trying to lose body fat, right? And you're stopping and starting, you're never going to get any results, and you've probably experienced that yourself, right? It's the same if you want to go into a building phase to build more muscle to look leaner eventually. You can't stop and start all the time, right? You want to just stick to it, trust the process, get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable for a little while, because you know that the end result is going to be so much better. And it can be scary gaining a little bit of weight, but like trust the process, because your body is going to reflect that work then the next time you diet, okay? You can't diet your way to a dream body. You have to have the building and the foundations underneath. And there's a process that you do need to go through and not be scared of it, basically. So anyways, when we're going into the gym, we want to get the most out of our sessions. So I'm going to go through things to get the most out of your sessions, because I didn't know any of this before. And if I knew what I didn't know back then, I would have got results far quicker. So if we're taking 1 hour out of our day, 3, 4, 5 times a week to go into the gym to train, we want to actually get the most out of that training session. We don't want to be just going in and exercising and hoping to see results. We want to actually train with intention. Basically, what progressive overload actually means is going in with an intention to every training session to lift a heavier weight, control the movement a little bit better, or get an extra rep. Okay, so if your rep range is 8 to 10 and you've been using 5 kgs for the last however amount of weeks, you need to increase that weight to actually help your muscles adapt. Okay, we want to progressive overload on these training sessions to get the most out of the training sessions, so that your body adapts and changes. If you're not challenging those muscles, it's going to be very, very hard to change, okay? So I know that it can be scary lifting the heavier weight, because you're sometimes like, oh, what if I can't lift it? That's going to be so embarrassing, or whatever. Trust yourself, back yourself. You've been using them same weights for however amount of weeks, okay? So this week, go in and challenge yourself to lift an extra weight. One thing that I said to my clients recently on an educational call that we done was write it in your notepad or on the app that you track all your weights. And that if you don't track all your weights and your reps, you need to, because how do you know what rep range or what weight you lifted last week to know to lift heavier this week, or to know to get an extra weight rep this week? You need to be tracking all that Otherwise, you are going to see no progress, okay? So, but basically what I said to one of my clients, or to the clients on the group call, was write down, if you used 5 kgs last week and you got 8 reps, write down this week before you even go in that you're going to get 9 or 10 reps. That way you've already put it in your mindset that you're going to push, you're going to get those reps, and you're going to lift extra weight or whatever it is, so that you actually do progressive overload and you actually see results and your body actually changes. We have to challenge our muscles or else they're not going to change, okay? And if you're clicked into this video, obviously you want to change your body shape, right? So please do this. So how to know when to actually, I suppose, pick an extra weight is when you've completed the rep range with good control, quality reps, quality sets, and then the following week you increase the weight, okay? You might not get close to that 8 to 10 rep range, you might get 6 reps if it's shoulder press or something, and then you just work upwards to that 8 to 10 rep range. Once you click in, or you get to the 10 reps with that weight, it's time to increase it again, okay? So we want to be always challenging the muscles and progressive overloading. So training close enough to failure, right? This is such a big mistake that a lot of people do when they start off, and I wish I knew this myself as well. If your rep range is 8 to 10, and I'm going to go back to shoulder presses, right? If your rep range is 8 to 10 and your first rep is like that, easy, not struggling at all, and your last one is also like that, not struggling at all, and then you just drop the weights, you're not challenging your muscles enough. You are not going to see changes like that, and you are titting around in the gym and wasting your time unless you're going in just for your mindset. But if you have an intention of changing your body shape, you need to train closer to failure. Now, one thing that I said to my clients, and I don't know if I should say this on YouTube because it'll probably be taken down, but if somebody had a thing to your head, okay, what does that look like? If somebody had that to your head and they were shouting at you and they were like, get one more, right? How many more could you actually physically do? Probably about 5, 6 more, right? So that means you are not training close to failure. So the last rep should be like, can I get that back up? I'm struggling. That's what your last rep should look like. And if you're not doing that, I want you to focus that and take that away and implement it now in your next sessions. And don't just stop when you feel a little bit of uncomfortable burn. Like push to failure, push close to failure anyway. Because that's when you are challenging your muscles so that they actually adapt and you actually change your body shape then going forward. So hopefully that helps, because I know that that's something that I didn't really know about before, and you want to be doing that with every single rep, every single set, and every single session going forward to actually get the most out of your sessions. When you are putting your time and effort into going in and training 4 or 5 times a week, you want to actually improve as the weeks go on. So don't confuse more sessions with better, going in and doing 5, 6 training sessions a week or whatever. If you can't recover from them properly because you're a little bit too sore and then you can't push the next day, and maybe you're following Instagram people online, love that, right? We love that for inspiration. But if you're changing your workouts up a lot and you're trying out all these fancy exercises that you see people posting online, they post them online to get just some engagement, right? I have been doing the exact same boring few exercises for years now, because that means I can improve with those exercises. You're not going to be able to get the exercises correctly done within your first couple of weeks of training. So it's probably only in the first couple of months of training that you're like, oh my God, I actually can feel this now in that target muscle. And another thing, if you don't know what muscles you're using with every exercise, you need to start Googling that, because if you're not thinking of that muscle group while you're doing that exercise, you are not going to get the most out of that. Okay, so if you're doing hip thrusts, it's obviously glutes. Think about your glutes throughout that whole movement. When you are doing shoulder press, obviously think about your shoulders, all right? When you're doing squats, really think about your quads, because the more mind to muscle connection, the actual better you will feel that in that target muscle group. But basically, don't be doing random exercises and changing it up all the time, because you're never going to actually improve at that, which means you're never going to actually progress and be able to lift heavier, to challenge the muscles enough to actually get the best results possible. So find a few exercises that work well for you, that you feel comfortable with, and follow that plan to a T for a very, very, very long time. Stop getting bored of it. The boring stuff actually does work, okay? And it shouldn't be boring, because if you're going in with an intention to be able to lift heavier, that should excite you, okay? And now, I go back to me last year. I did get very bored of strength training exercises because I had been doing the exact same ones for about 3 or 4 years. 3 years, I'd say. So I did get very bored of it. Now, I still done them because I still wanted to have a good body shape. So even though I might not have wanted to go in and maybe I didn't put all my effort into my strength in sessions that time, my body shape had already changed a lot. So I was kind of just happy to maintain then. But if you've got a goal of like changing your body shape and improving your body shape, you have to stick to the boring stuff, I'm afraid. And if that doesn't seem interesting to you, it's probably why you haven't seen the results that you want, because you keep getting bored, changing it up, thinking, oh, this isn't working, so I'll try this here new thing. You see another fancy new online program, you see a new fancy exercises online, you start changing things up and you never actually progress. So you're never going to get results like that. So unfortunately, you have to do the boring shit and stick to it consistently to actually see results. What else? Training your muscles enough, obviously. So like, to be honest, like obviously at the very start, if you just want to lose weight, doing 2 strength sessions is probably enough for a lot of people, because maybe you've got children at home, maybe you've got a really, really hard job that you work crazy hours, and maybe you can only fit in 2 training sessions. You can't compare your results then to me that trains a lot, or somebody else that you see online that trains like 4 or 5 times a week, right? You can't expect the exact same results, and you also can't be like, oh well, if I can't see the results like them, I might as well just do nothing. Obviously you're not going to change your body that way. 2 sessions is better than no sessions, all right? So don't compare your journey to anybody else's. But if you really want to improve your physique, 4 sessions is like a really, really, really good target, because then you're getting enough volume on each muscle group going forward to actually be able to progress and to be able to change your body shape. You have to have enough volume on each muscle group to be able to improve it. So 4 sessions would be a really good target if you've got a big goal of changing your physique. And also planning in enough rest day in between so that you can actually push, because you don't want to do like 2 lower body sessions and 2 upper body sessions back to back, because if you do a lower body session on a Monday and a Tuesday, you're not going to be able to push properly in that second one. So you want to give your body enough rest time in between to actually adapt and be able to recover, and then be able to push again in the following one. Obviously every now and again, if you've got a weekend away coming up and you have to do 3 to 4 sessions like in a row, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's absolutely fine. But we don't want to do that every single week. We want to give ourselves enough rest and recovery in between to be able to push. Now, into the nitty gritty stuff. Not the nitty gritty, but like, you can train all you want, but if your nutrition isn't on point, you're not going to change your body as well. And your nutrition has to support the training that you're doing and the goals that you have. So obviously, if you want to lose weight and maybe change your body shape along the way, protein needs to be nailed. So you want to have around 1.7 to 2.2 grams of protein per kg of body weight. So what I aim for is around 2 grams of protein per kg of body weight. So I roughly weigh 53 to 54 kg. So I aim for about 110 grams of protein every day. Now, just because you're eating enough protein doesn't mean that that's all you need. You need to be eating enough calories as well. If you're cutting your calories really low because you want to lose loads of weight really quickly, chances are you're going to lose your glutes along the way as well. So it needs to be in a small deficit if you actually want to improve your body shape as well, and not just thinking, let's just get the weight off really quickly. Yes, you'll drop weight really quickly, but you'll have no body shape around that, right? So if you want to change your body shape while dropping weight, it needs to be a slow process as well. The same goes for if you're going into a building phase or a maintenance phase and you want to build more muscle. You want to be having the calories basically and not overshooting it, or else you'll like gain way too much body fat. So there is a fine line between undereating, overeating, and maintaining and actually building muscle in between. Okay. I think that's kind of everything. Tracking the right things, like I said, if you're not tracking your weights and your reps, how do you expect to know exactly what you done last week? I wouldn't even know what I done yesterday, never mind last week. So how do you go in then this week and train to failure or progressive overload? You haven't a bloody clue. So track everything and go in with an intention to progressive overload, lift a heavier weight, increase the rep, challenge your muscle a little bit better, control the movement. If you don't record your exercises, you need to start recording your exercises, because otherwise you can't see if you're getting a full range of motion, you can't see if you're going slow and controlled, like you can't see anything if you're just not recording stuff because you're embarrassed to record. Just pop your phone up against your water bottle on the ground. You can hide it with your jumper there or something so nobody even sees that in the eye line, and record your sets and you will be shocked. Like, look at people. Like, my clients have all my videos of me training on the app that I use, so they're able to look at that. And I actually got a really nice message from a client there recently, and she was like, some man came up to her in the gym and said, well done on doing the tricep pushdown correctly, like everyone normally like butchers that exercises and you're doing it perfectly. And she showed him my app with me doing the exercise, and she was like, this is how I know how to do it properly. And that is one exercise that people butcher, and then they wonder why they've got bingoings. Okay, so we want to be training properly, and if you don't know how to train properly, that is probably something that you're missing out on. It might be why you haven't changed your body shape yet as well. So that's kind of everything, really. I hope I have went through enough to get you started, to help you train with intention, to go into your next training session with a bit of a plan. And then obviously, if you have been struggling for the last couple of months or the last couple of years and you feel like your body is not changing and that's a goal of yours for the next while, if you want help, I will leave the link to apply for coaching in the description below, and we can have a little chat. And thank you so much for listening. If you do have any questions, you can pop questions over to me on Instagram either, and I'm more than happy to give you some advice. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. If you feel like anybody else would benefit from this YouTube, please send it to them. And again, thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.